Hey, what's going on? I want to thank you for coming by to Vape with the Viking. So today what we got is a new thing from QP. I know it's kind of a limited series, so hopefully when you find this review, they still have some in stock and maybe they'll just get it out of the limited series. But what we're going to be talking about is the Violator by QP Designs. It is a 28mm RTA. Very much so enjoying this guy. And the only thing that I would say that I wouldn't say I'm not enjoying, but one thing, if you're one of those aesthetically OCD people, it is a 28mm. So there are kind of few tubes out there if you like to use a mech that it works on. And I have it, of course, on that Death Wish Bogan edition. So, of course, fits 28 beautifully if you're using straight glass. So, and in here we have, of course, Triple C right here. You can see him right here. Triple C coils, some of his mech aliens, and running some Shy Tots Pernacious, which if you haven't seen or watched the TRV show, it is Miss Jane Shy Tots over in the UK. It's a Juice, her, and Stan Tenacious TX Vapes did a collaboration with, and it's really good. It's like a pear tart, working really well. Again, Triple C's mech aliens come into about a point something. You'll know if you see, but and working really well. But give you a little shot here. Yeah, producing really good flavor, pretty decent clouds, of course, as you can see. But just working really well. And even though that some people don't like the form factor, they already have one of these guys. Even good with the bubble glass. So definitely shout out to Darkstar and Mike MF and Green. They had some available for pre-order, so I snagged that up right before Christmas. So thank you guys for having some in stock. But that might be the hard part of this. But before we get down into this Violator, if you know Spawn, we'll do a little ADHD awareness. So like I say now every single time, it is definitely a real disorder. Affects children, affects adults, doesn't matter what age range you are, it can and does affect everyone. It is a real thing. It is a disorder. And one thing I really have issues with is when people say it's fake, it's made up, kids need to discipline, or adults just need to quit being lazy, so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to spread is a little bit of awareness of the disorder. So what I challenge you to do is find someone you know that has the disorder, or somebody you don't even know that you just found out today has the disorder, and just let them know that they are not broken, they are not lazy, they are not stupid. Their brain is just different. And guess what, guys? Different is beautiful. So that's my little ADHD awareness there for you. But I'm ready. Are you ready? Yeah, I think we're ready. Let's drop the hammer on the Violator. So what I got for you today is the Violator by QP Designs. It is a limited edition RTA. So of course there's front of the box there. And on the side there, does not have nicotine in it yet, so it is not a highly addictive substance as of now. So, and then they do at least tell you on here that when it is filled with juice containing nicotine. So it's kind of nice there. Then you got, of course, all your little stamps there. And since this is Canada, that's why they say 18 and over. Nothing there. And then there's your color configurations, either stainless steel or black. And then on the back, you have all the details of the RTA. And then you have QP Designs signature there, and then all of their social media, and of course, out of Canada there. And then when you flip this guy open, it's got that magnetic closure there. Here's what's going to be on the inside. I'm just going to show you the front flap here. Boom. Look at that. So if you're not 100% familiar, Violator, if you've not seen the movie Spawn, it's kind of where they got that inspiration for the name. So, of course, in the box here, you're going to get all this. We'll go over these individually. You will get a black drip tip. It is 810 non-O-ring style. It's just kind of a little different there. It's got a little bit of a lip to it to get real nice and flush on top of that RTA. You are going to get a bubble glass, which will increase your capacity to 5.5 mils. And inside that glass, you're going to have a little QP Designs vape tank band. And you're going to get two bags. One I've already opened up, so I'll show you this one that has not been opened. This is kind of the accessory pouch that's going to have all of your O-rings, grub screws, Allen, little flathead screwdriver, which means the grub screws are going to be flat. You know how much I love that. And then the other bag, you're going to end up having this QP design tool, which I'll show you what that is for. And then in that same bag, you're going to have these 4 like little plates. We'll kind of get in here on that. All right, so these 4 little plates definitely show a little bit later. Need to clean them off a little bit, looks like, or actually looks like they're my fingerprints more than anything. But these little grates are going to be what cuts down or smooths out your airflow on the deck, and we'll look at that in just a sec. But you'll see they have little notches on them, and that's how they're going to basically get secured into the deck itself. So let's get to the RTA and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here's the RTA. As you'll see, it is a 28mm RTA. You got some kind of big cross-hatching airflow looking stuff going on here. So at the top, you're going to get that clear drip tip, which if you pull out is just a regular 810 drip tip style. So you have that, or you can go with the black, which will make it look like this, just like that. And of course, this is the black. It comes in black or stainless, the whole tank. And you'll see there's something in there I'll go over with here in just a bit. It's going to be different for US Vapers. This is something that deals with TPD. So all together on the bottom, we're going to go here. You see Violator RTA QP Designs Limited Edition, and then the number 2824, which I believe they are doing 3,000 or 5,000 only of this guy. So this is going to be a very limited run. So hopefully by the time this gets up to you, it's still available quickly. You have a protruding 510, and it's gold plated there, 510 pin there. So you're good there for on a mech hybrid use. Then you have your airflow. So there's the lock on that side. As you go to open it, you're going to see it just starts opening almost, I'd say a row or so at a time. So you can get some pretty big airflow on this guy. You might see a little condensation. I did clean it. But you can see how big that airflow can totally get. I mean, it can be pretty darn open. But the kind of little ingenious thing, they do have a juice flow control on here, and let's see if you can see it. Yeah, you see it here. It's open into the deck here. When you go to close the airflow, it'll move it around as well. But what is the biggest thing about this juice flow control is when you go to open your tank here. So as you'll see, it's open here. You can see it's kind of going down into the deck. But when you go to open your top, it not only takes and starts closing that airflow for you, because it is counterclockwise. When you go to turn it open, it actually closes that down. Now, one thing I've seen just by looking at it, it actually opens it up a bit. So what I would suggest is taking it before you get this all the way cracked open, is go all the way to here. It's locked there, but then come back a little bit, and that shuts your juice flow completely. Then hold on to the glass and go the rest of the way until it pops open. And that will keep it closed off instead of having that almost little hole open. So I do know at least 2 of these do that exact same thing. So I don't know if it's a design issue or if they have worked it out that that will still not be enough to allow your deck to flood as you open up the top. But safety for me says bring it back a little, make sure it's completely closed off. That way you know it's good. So the top here, it is one of those quarter turns. You got that notch right there. And of course it goes all the way to the other side. That locks right into there. There's the notch there. So when you get it back on, you just take and feel for it. As soon as it drops down, just give it a turn and it stops. And you know you're locked in. Okay, so unscrewing the top here, it is reverse thread. So it's definitely a little bit different than what you're used to, possibly. And then what this tool is for is when I first opened this guy up, this did not want to move at all. So I found that tool was good to hold into those while you're turning the top. For getting into the rest of the tank, you do have your chimney here. And one thing you'll see, the light will hit it, there you go. Do have some grooves in there. So what that essentially is for, it's to help the juice wick better, because it literally will start channeling the juice straight down these cutouts, because when you use your straight glass, it's pretty close. So sometimes juice has a problem finding its way to the wick holes. So they kind of remedied that. They put in these recesses on each side to make sure that the juice gets channeled straight down in there. Now what this is for, this is going to be a little bit different for you in the US watching a US reviewer, is what the heck is that? That is a TPD restriction. So when you have this on and a straight glass on, this is 2 mil capacity. So what QP did is made it so that if you're in somewhere that doesn't have TPD, take that off, and bam, now you're back up to 4 mils. All right, so here's the deck itself. You got, yep, they are flatheads. You know, I really don't like them, but at least these are the kind that I like, the Asgard and stuff that are better. I like that they're recessed in, so I don't have as much issues with it. All right, so now you got the base deck here, and you have your peak insulators here. So as you will see, that is your positive side. Negative side, of course, is milled in. You have your juice wicking channels there, and pretty much very deep crevasse or airflow plug there. That is what these little plates are going to be for. Now looking at these, it looks like they're almost, I would say, two different categories. You have a kind of like a dual coil setup because they're big and using pretty much the entire bottom, and then you have these two guys, almost like slotted and diamond. These I would think for either a more restrictive direct lung or even a single coil. So what I'm going to go with is I'm going to match the outer airflow and use this plate. I've actually heard at least one person that really enjoyed this plate, so we'll go and use that one. All right, so on the deck you'll see there's a little notch there. Sometimes it might be a little hard to see. Let's see if we can get it not reflecting. There's a little notch right in there. And you'll see with the plate, it has a little notch on one end as well. So it makes it super easy to figure out which end it should go in. Okay, so what you're essentially going to do with that is you can get it started whichever way you want to. I have the bumps, of course, on the down part. You'll see there's the dimples here. Those are going to go down. And then you just take and slide it in. And then it almost kind of clicks into place the first time. I had to take it out to make sure I had it in right, and it clicked. Didn't really click this time, but as you'll see, it's not moving anywhere once it's locked into that peg right there. So there's that plate. That's what we're going to use. And then I've already kind of eyeballed it. We're going to be using some of Triple C's coils here. Got some Mech Aliens right there. Show off a little shininess. And that's one of his Mech Aliens right there. A little super prettiness there. And of course there's also a stray hair. There we go. So yeah, we're going to use his Mech Aliens, of course. And I've already kind of pre-measured the best that I think I've seen. It looks like is going to be right at that 6 millimeter mark there. So what I'll do here is actually just going to go ahead and cut one instead of fast forwarding and going to the music. Let's cut one and make sure that it'll be right at that 6 mark, if that's going to work. In case you've never used a coily tool, you got whatever length you want there, and then just take underside, clip, and clip. Should be flush with your 6. Take a look here. Yeah, I think that's where we'll do them, right at 6. Looks like it's perfect right there. So I'd have to say maybe that's a little Triple C action right there more than me. So what we'll do actually is maybe after we get them tightened down, maybe pull them in a little bit more. But other than that, 6 millimeter, maybe even 6.5. So, but yeah, let's get this rolling. All right, we are back up top with the Violator by QP. So get a couple things out of the way. It is a 28 millimeter RTA, and it does initially hold if you buy it from like a UK site, or I believe even through QP. I don't think through QP. QP's out of Canada. Basically, if you buy it anywhere that has TPD restrictions, you'll see in the dive down, I had those little blocks of silicone in there. That's for your 2 mil capacity. If you pop those things out, boom, now you got 4 mil. And then if you put the bubble glass on, it holds 5.5 mils. So again, definitely mech safe, 28 millimeter, available in black and the stainless steel. So pros and cons, we'll actually go over cons first. The main reason why is there's really not a lot of them. The one biggest con I would definitely say, as you see, I'm running into straight mode again. I think I have a couple pictures out there. I have it in a bubble tank mode. I've already had to buy another bubble glass. Now, I am not a glass expert by any means, but if you take something like a steam crave glass and you take one of QP's, specifically the Violator glass, and you sit there and you kind of ting them and listen to them, they do sound completely different. The QP glass sounded very fragile, high-pitched, where like a steam crave glass, even the big extension glasses, sound definitely like almost thicker or lower in its pitch, because the QP bubble glass, I literally dropped it from like 3 inches onto wood. I mean, it wasn't even anything. It was from here to here, and it literally shattered. So big con in my opinion. Now, it could have been just a one-off issue, so maybe that's not a big deal, but I know of at least 8 people I know that bought this thing. At least 4 or 5 of them have broken the bubble glass before already, and never broken bubble glass before. That's me. I've only broken 2 glasses in my years of doing this now, and that was one, and it was, in my opinion, I think either it needs to be thicker or something in its process of tempering. It's just, in my opinion, there's something not quite right with the bubble glass. Now, that's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, and QP might see this and be like, wow, you're full of crap. Okay, sorry. But I know I already had to buy one, and you're the second device in years I've ever had to buy glass for. So, there's that. But, here's the good news. That's about the only con I can come up with. You know, and if that's easier, that's easier. So, pros. The airflow, it feels like there's a lot of air. And I'm okay, I should say, with a lot of airflow devices. Too much and kills the flavor. I'm not all about that, though. This has a good amount of airflow, but it feels right. It makes the flavor still pop. The most I've ever closed this thing down to is like the second little X section. So basically making it look like almost one full X. But most of the time, I shut down what you would call like the first row. The first 2 diamonds. And that's usually what I do on a mech. On a regulated, I turn it down a little bit more because I think I'm just not running it hot enough. But wicking, those little wicking channels that they got there, and I kept saying it was to help wick, the juice down into the flow. It's not. What it does is, if you've ever, of course, vaped, especially hotter builds, and you see an RTA and it's just kind of bubbling everywhere, it's kind of almost inefficiently trying to re-wick by getting all those bubbles out and all that. They did something pretty cool with that. So those little slits, you will always see the bubbles only come up from those wicking channels, and that's it. So, does that help it wick better? I'm not an engineer, so I would say I don't know, but from personal experience, from the way I've been vaping on it, it's been constant, it's been consistent, it's been beautiful. So the counterclockwise or opposite direction for the fill, that's good as well. I like that because when you are doing it one way versus the other, you're not always constantly essentially cranking down on your atomizer. So that's really good. This, I don't know, I guess this was another con. The one that I found out that I thought it'd be kind of cooler of a design. So since you have to turn it, you would say clockwise to get the top off. Now, when you do the juice flow control, which is another pro, juice flow control is awesome, you turn the whole thing clockwise. But if you turn all the way to its stop, and I'm not sure if it's going to show real well, there is, well, here. So what I do is I turn it back a little bit. So if you see how much silver you can see all the way across there, that is when it's fully closed. But if you keep turning to where it stops, there's actually a hole right there. See it like on both sides there. That's a little bit better of a shot. So it does leave the wicking channel open a bit. So when you go and turn it to get your lid off, I'm not sure. I haven't had any problems yet, but I would assume you want that closed off completely when you're refilling, so doesn't lose your pressure. So I would have liked it if maybe they shortened the stop radius a little bit more, because I would like to just be able to turn the whole thing, basically turn in the top and pop it right off. Now, in its defense, maybe that's not enough to really aerate or lose its pressure. Not sure. So all I do is I turn it all the way to stop. Then I kind of not really halfway turn, but I turn it back a little bit so I know that there's no exposure at all. Hold on to the glass, and then I go ahead and turn the top off. So you don't have to hold on to it real hard either. So just barely touching it. And then now it's closed. Now I go back to full juice flow. Again, one of those things I thought maybe it could have been me, but that's what everybody's experienced. And this is a good example. If you go all the way the other way, you'll see wick channel, but then just there on the edge, you see a bit of basically the barrel or chimney. So it's just like it's off by an eighth of an inch, maybe even all the way up to a quarter of an inch, but just a little fraction. It's off both ways. It's like they needed to mill that just a little bit countersent. But again, it's $69.99 is where I was finding price wise. Definitely worth essentially every penny so far. Even with the fiddly little things like figuring out the flow control, and then with your bubble glass possibly breaking. So definitely urge you, if you want to run in bubble mode, put the protector on it. Make sure you're just really super careful with that, guys. So, but on a mech, unregulated, doesn't matter. It's doing really well. And of course, so is the Pernacious. So yeah, like I said, lots of pros. Went over all the pros I can think of. Again, 2 little cons, one really little and one possibly user error. This is easily starting to even take over my Ragnar, which if you've watched my reviews and watched the lives with Spring, the Rising Vapor Show, TRV crew, you'll know that I have not put down the Ragnar since its release. It's an amazing flavor RTA. This guy, it might have kicked it. He might have kicked out of spot. It's definitely one of those. It's darn close. Even though it's all bottom airflow, which a lot of people are worried about the leaking and so on and so forth. And that is a huge open gap of airflow there. And I see bits of condensation every once in a while, but no actual juice leaking. So works very easily. It works really well. I urge you, if you can, and you have the ability to spend $69.99 on an RTA, definitely go and find one of these guys. You definitely got to put one of these in your arsenal. If you have anything that'll fit a 28mm too. So, but that is all I got today for the Violator by QP Designs. Just want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with the Viking, and I'll check you later.